This unripe jackfruit, it's often called as mock meat because its texture is something like that, but it hardly tastes anything like it. In fact, it tastes close to boiled artichokes. The reason it got the label of a vegan chicken or a vegetarian chicken in India before even the vegans knew about it is because it's prepared in the same way like you would prepare a meat, with almost the same spices, and even it smells like it. So you get two types of jackfruits, the unripe ones that are gray and the ripe ones that are bright yellow. The ripe fruit gets a very strong aroma of banana, pineapple and mango, all three of them in one fruit. And just like mangoes, it is once in a year delicacy in India. So if you do not have a fresh whole jumbo jackfruit like this, you get them unripe canned ones for this dish that we'll be making today. Today we'll be making a jackfruit curry the way my mother makes it. Before we start cooking, even if you do not have unripe jackfruit, this video is going to help you make a flavorful Indian curry to which you can add other vegetables or even chicken. And if you're not interested in cutting the jackfruits, which I'm going to show, you can skip to the part relevant to you by using the time codes in the description. I'm your host Shrikant Singh and welcome to our channel Happy Belly Fish. So when I was cutting that big jackfruit, I realized that it won't work as the sabzi or the vegetable that I had intended to make. My wife saw it on the roadside, picked it up, paid like 100 Indian rupees and gave it to me. She thought we'll have a feast. But it was too big, too mature, the seeds were fully developed and the fibers were too hard. There was also no milk-like resin at all, and from the 5 kilos of jackfruit, I could get about only 1 kilo of edible part that was mostly seeds. I still made curry with it, but it's not the same. And on our tree, the jackfruits were either too big or too small, so I had to find another jackfruit of the right size. And what better place could it be other than the market? And while we were on the hunt in the summer heat of March, we finally found the jackfruits, but the old ladies selling them were on a siesta. Summer is actually quite a fantastic time for fruits in India, and you can boost all your vitamin levels before the monsoons arrive, which is when you get absolutely nothing. After some more search, we finally found both the seller and the jackfruit. The ideal weight of the jackfruit for this recipe, in my opinion, should not exceed 1.5 kilos. Now that we have the jackfruit, it's time for the real struggle to begin, which is also the hardest and most time-consuming part of this recipe: cutting and peeling. If you have to do it yourself, you must remember to smear the oil on the cutting board, your hands, the knife, and everything the jackfruit will come in contact with. The white juice that you will see coming out is very sticky and you cannot wash it off with water. But if it does end up on your hand, which it will, just smear some oil and rub it off and it will be gone. You need to cut the jackfruit into manageable chunks. So start with the neck and get rid of the stem and cut the jackfruit into half. This white thing that you're seeing that's oozing out of the jackfruit, it's actually this resin, and it mostly comes out from the core at the center. This is also the toughest part of the jackfruit, so you need to slice it off and discard. Now we need to peel the outer skin, which looks like a crocodile skin. Once you start this process, it will get tiring after some time, but you have to finish it. You can't give it up. Cut the jackfruit into large chunks, roughly 1 inch in size. It took me around 15 minutes to get through this, and you can see how my fingers are covered in this glue-like resin. So I'm going to rub it off with oil to clean it up. But remember, do not wash it with water, it will make things even worse. This is the type of vegetable you make when you're on your first date with someone. You can actually show how gentle you can be when it comes to dealing with very sticky problems in life. So this was about 1.5 kilos of jackfruit, and I ended up with roughly 1 kilo of usable portion. The skin and the stem had to be discarded. I'm going to make this curry with just half a kilo of it. With the other half a kilo, I want to make another much simpler dish. Now that the jackfruit is cut, we'll have to boil it. This will soften the vegetable and it will also bring out some more of this resin in the process. Bring about 1 liter of water to boil and add the cut jackfruit to it. Add half a teaspoon of turmeric powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. Cover the pot with a lid and boil it for about 10 to 15 minutes. The real test is that the jackfruit needs to be cooked. That's when you stop. So how do you do that? You take a knife and just pass it through. If it goes through easily, your jackfruit is cooked. Drain and discard this water. You cannot really do anything with it. There's no vitamins that you're losing here. Let's slice one and you will see that it looks just like the inside of a boiled chicken, but without the poultry smell. You can pour some amount of olive oil on the top and you can eat it as it is. It tastes just like boiled artichokes if you have ever tried one. And if you get these in cans, this is the product that you will get, the boiled jackfruits. We are also here to do more. We didn't do all this just to boil it and make the jackfruit feel ordinary. We are going to make it taste like the best thing you've ever eaten. So take a frying pan and heat about 3 tablespoons of oil in it. If you want this dish to taste extra flavorful, use cold pressed mustard oil. If you don't have it, use any other edible oil that you have. Add the boiled jackfruit and shallow fry it for about 5 minutes on all sides. And this will make the texture and the flavor nicer and make the jackfruit crisp on the outside and make it a little more chewy, just like the meat of chicken. Before we move on, if you do not have sticky fingers like mine after cutting the jackfruit, and if you are learning something from my videos and enjoying the content, then please hit the unloved like and subscribe buttons and write your questions or suggestions in the comments. Now let's make the curry base in which the jackfruit will go. You will need a lot of ingredients for this, so look for the link to the written recipe in the description for the whole list of ingredients. Take 2 medium-sized onions, and onions are the heart of any meaty dish and something that is going to be very rich in spices. You can cut them into smaller pieces like this or into larger slices. You can also make a paste if you wish, like I've shown in my curry video earlier, but this is how I'm going to chop them for this recipe. Take 1 fresh green chili, make a slit and remove the seeds and the veins. This is the way you keep your dish mildly spicy and not die of hiccups and the heat of chili. Now we are going to make a tomato puree. So slice 2 medium-sized tomatoes which are ripe and red and make a puree out of it. Add the tomatoes and the green chili to a blender and make a puree out of it. One more ingredient that you will need is 1 tablespoon of ginger and garlic paste. Now you may be able to get this ginger garlic paste in the supermarkets, but if you can, then make it at home. It's very easy to make and the taste of it is much superior to the ones that you buy from store. So here is a short lesson within this lesson. So how to make ginger garlic paste in the correct way. You can't make 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste in a blender. So take half a cup of peeled garlic cloves, dice them if they are very large, otherwise they will not blend into a smooth paste. And take an equal amount of fresh ginger. Remove the skin and dice them into smaller chunks. And here is where people make that mistake. They have this garlic and ginger in large pieces, they put a lot of water, they end up with a ginger and garlic puree. The way to do it is to blend it in pulses and keep mixing it as you blend it. So you need much shorter pulses to get a smooth ginger and garlic paste. This paste can last for 2 to 3 weeks easily in a refrigerator. And if you still want to make just 1 tablespoon of it, then use your mortar and pestle. Now it's time to bring all the pieces of the puzzle together. Heat about 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil in a pan on medium heat. Once again, for this dish, mustard oil is the best oil. Add 5 green cardamom pods to it, 2-inch piece of cinnamon or cassia stick, and 2 tejpat. This leaf is not the bay laurel or bay leaf that is used in the Mediterranean dishes. This leaf has a very mild taste of clove and cinnamon. So if you do not have this leaf, it's okay to skip it, but don't substitute it with the laurel bay leaf. Keep the pan on medium heat and cook the spices for just under a minute. And as soon as you get the aroma of the spices, add the onion and cook for 1 minute. Add 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste and cook for a further few minutes until the raw smell of ginger and onion disappears. It will take about 2 or 3 minutes for this. The red onion should turn light pink and translucent. And if you are using the white onion, it will just become translucent. Don't go searching for Barbie in the white onion in the pan. And remember, the onion must not burn or brown. So do not cook in a hurry on high heat. If the onion burns, it will make everything bitter and you will have to start all over again. Now it's time for you to add the spices, the ground spices. Add 1.5 tablespoon of coriander powder, 1 tablespoon of cumin powder, 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder, 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, 1 teaspoon of garam masala, and half a tablespoon of salt. Stir these ingredients and mix everything nicely. And if you're wondering why do my hands look so small and funny and why am I stirring like this is also one of my daughter's favorite recipes. So she really wanted to cook all by herself. Cook for a minute and then add 1 cup of tomato puree that you had prepared. Mix and simmer until it appears like it's boiling. So in many recipes you'll often hear the chef say that the oil must separate from the base, which is when you move to the next stage. It makes your dish taste nice, but it also makes it very oily. So it is never a milestone that I look for when I'm cooking. And the amount of oil that I have used in this recipe is already over the limits that I have set for myself. Now briefly I'm going to talk about spices in Indian cooking. This is very important for those who are not very much familiar with the Indian cooking and often stumble here. Now which one is a coriander powder and which one is cumin powder? They both look brown. So a lot of people confuse and they mix the proportions and end up getting a bitter curry. So remember, coriander powder is lighter in color and the cumin powder is darker. This is your visual cue if you're unfamiliar with describing the spices by how it smells. And when I say chili powder, it is again one spice ingredient made with just this dried red chili pepper. It is not the same as the chili seasoning spice that you get in the US that is made with a lot of other spices. So if you add that seasoning chili spice instead of the chili powder, then you will be teleported to a parallel reality. Now garam masala or meat masala, there are several varieties of it that you get. So you can use any one of them but not both at the same time. And it is not the same as curry powder. And garam masala should always be used in moderation. Don't make your curry base with garam masala. Okay, science class. Now the curry paste is ready and you can add the jackfruits to it. But we will make a slight variation here and make it a bit more creamy and also a little sour. And to do that, we will add half a cup of yogurt. If you're not going to use tomato because you hate it, then you can add 1 cup of yogurt instead. Mix it and simmer for about 2 minutes. Once again, look for that boil, which is when you will add the dried fenugreek leaves, also known as kasuri methi. It is a bitter herb and will balance all the sweetness in the curry. This is an optional ingredient, and if you do not have it, just use fresh coriander leaves. Simmer for 2 more minutes and now it's time for you to add the fried jackfruit. Mix the jackfruit and the curry base. Add 1 cup of water. Mix and cover the pot with a lid and let it cook for 5 more minutes. Garnish it with fresh coriander leaves at the end. So I like the curry to be really thick, more like a sabzi when I'm eating it with roti or naan. And if I want to eat it with rice, I will add some more water and cook for a few more minutes. This curry must not be very thin like a soup. It smells and looks like a delicious chicken curry. Many people actually whom you have not said that there's jackfruit inside might actually think that it's chicken, except that it is not. And what makes it so special is that you can make it just during one season in an entire year, unless you have canned jackfruit, of course. The unripe jackfruit season is very short and it makes this vegetable a delicacy. And there are many other things from it that people make, from jackfruit chips to pickles and stir fries, and all of them are worth giving a try. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and even if you do not have this unripe jackfruit with you, making this curry base or learning to make it, to which you can add any other vegetable or even chicken, will definitely take you to the next level of cooking Indian recipes. Go away! We have plenty of this thing. We kind of are tired with this fruit. Actually, people do get tired eating this within a month. I thought it was a coconut falling on me. Usually coconuts never fall on your head if you belong to the house, but jackfruits do. This thing is heavy. I've been carrying this load for you, so please make sure you remember to like and subscribe.